Maybe it's the match of the year, maybe it's not the match of the year. I realize the dumb way to start this video here, but hello, I like to be an absolute idiot. But we did just get Will Ospreay versus MJF on the latest episode of AEW Dynamite, and this totally rocked my world. And that's what I'm going to tell you about today. Because look, I think comparison is the thief of joy. I always get that phrase wrong, but somebody said it to me once. And it's one of the best things anyone has ever whispered into my ear because it's true. As soon as we see something we do enjoy, there is this insatiable appetite to all of a sudden, oh, it wasn't as good as this, and it wasn't as good as that, when there's no need. We can just enjoy all of this goodness. But I genuinely think when I get to the end of the year and I sit down and I decide to choose my matches of the year, that MJF versus Will Ospreay for the International Championship will be in it. Now, not just because they did a load of moves, not just because they went 1 hour, which totally surprised me, not because they kept the pace up, which also shocked me, because my word, you have to have good cardio to do that. But really, and this is going to sound somewhat stupid, so you'll have to forgive me, it was the fact that AEW takes risks like this. And that doesn't mean that I'm not saying anybody else doesn't take risks. They absolutely do. But to take what should have been a pay-per-view match, give it an hour-long running time, or 59 minutes and 59 seconds, and air it on Dynamite 250, this is one of the reasons why I love the fact we have WWE, we have TNA, we have AEW, we have New Japan, whatever it may be, because you can sit down and you can totally have your socks blown off, even if you just expected it to be another television show. Now, many people get mad that this wasn't on pay-per-view. Listen, I can send you, go put $50 in one of my bank accounts. There's some information down there where you can send me money, and when you are there, you can subscribe as well. But I don't care about that. I don't care about AEW's finances. I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, that's their business, and that's for there to sort out. And if it's not doing well, I hope they fix it. If it's doing great, I hope they earn even more money. Same with all the other companies. But not in my wildest dreams did I think I'd be waking up this morning to do Dynamite Ups and Downs, again, check it out on What Culture, and be like, oh my gosh, they're going the entire way. Now, I always try and stay off social media, off the internet before I have watched a show, because, you know, it can affect your thinking a little bit much. So when we got to the 42-minute mark, I was like, I don't think it's going to slow down anytime soon, even though they were working at such a furious pace. And I also think it allows you to see a different side of these guys. Will Ospreay is just a supreme babyface. He's so good. I don't know how we're ever going to turn him heel, and he has been a very good heel before. But, I mean, there's always a way, right? You just have to come up with the story. But he is creating such a niche for himself. It's a niche within a niche that eventually he is going to be the guy we look back on and say he opened a door for this brand new world of professional wrestling. And there's other people as well. It's not usually just one individual that does do it, but as we are focusing on him. And it was just another great reminder from Maxwell Jacob Friedman to say, yes, I am a generational talent in the sense of my overall character, but he can go in the ring as well. And seeing Will do all of his flippy-dippy-doo-dah stuff, which I do love, seeing Max do his more, I don't know what you call it, it's not even an old school style, but it's more smart style, whatever the hell you want to say. They just clicked to such a degree, and then Maxwell would take a page out of Williams' book, and then Williams would take a page out of Maxwell's book. And when we got to those last 10 minutes, I was like, well, I think we're getting a draw, but I had that 1% where I couldn't guarantee, like if somebody put a gun to my head, I wouldn't have been able to call it. And to end with MJF cheating and punching Will Ospreay right in the head, I just think it's so simple, but it's so obvious, because now, even if you did have something in your tum-tum that still wanted to cheer for MJF, because he was a really good babyface most of last year, we have made it very clear he just stole this championship from Will Ospreay, and what are you going to do about it? And I love the fact that Will Ospreay's dead on the floor and MJF needs oxygen. That's the picture he took with the championship. It's him in a chair with an oxygen mask on his face. It just, I mean, that's the kind of sports presentation, I suppose. Not that you watch sports and you see people with medical apparatus on their face, but it's not necessarily something that other companies would do, so it makes AEW feel really unique. And let's not forget that, you know, MJF is now the international champion. Will is probably going to have to win it back, I suppose, at All In to get him his moment. And the other reason I liked it so much is because we took someone like Will Ospreay, who lost against Swerve, but there was no qualms and there was no worries about him losing again. We could have done the draw and everyone would have been fine with it. We would have gone all nerdy and marky and geeky and all those ridiculous words and been like, well, we understand because we can't beat this guy and we can't beat that guy. But I just love the fact that Tony Khan went, no, he's winning and he's losing. And somewhere down the line, we'll make sure we flip it around. But for the next few weeks, we're focusing on you, and you're going to have to go through some sort of storyline. Oh, I need to get back to the top because you're now on back-to-back losses. It doesn't make me think that Will Ospreay isn't good at wrestling. It doesn't make me think he's being buried. And it's something that I think all companies actually are doing a really good job of at the moment. Like even, well, Sheamus beating Bronson Reed, that was a different argument. We can check the video I did the other day, but I did like that. You know, we could have come up with some kind of silly finish, but we didn't. And even if you think a company gets the winner and loser wrong, that's awesome too. because it engages discussion. It's like if you're watching football or NFL or basketball or soccer or whatever the hell it would be, if all of a sudden a smaller team beats a bigger team, that will fuel the entire conversation for the entire week, right? That's why we have talk radio, sports radio, because people be like, oh, this happened and that happened and this guy screwed that guy. And if we do take wrestling as real, for lack of a better term, we could even get into it and say, oh, I can't believe that MJF was allowed to push Will Ospreay into that referee, that damn crooked referee, to use the ring again. Someone's got to stop him, bringing the ring to the ring. The ring to the ring is the dumbest thing I've ever said. I just thought I'm looking at it from 2 points of view, the fan perspective, but also as someone that does wrestle, being like, wow, man, you're so better, you're so many levels above me. It's ridiculous, but I respect and I appreciate it. And I do think they're two of the best in the world, not just for their in-ring, but the way they crafted it, the way they built it, the way they made it feel like it meant something. When the kid attacked MJF, was the greatest thing ever. MJF ripped up a sign that said, Simon, give me it up. So I was doing my own dance of joy. And no, I don't think he knew what it said. I don't think he referenced it. He was in the moment. It's just fun to rip up a sign. And shout out to that guy as well. You genuinely did put a smile on my face. But I thought it was awesome. And I thought it was excellent. And listen, there are other matches that will be in the conversation too, just to like calm everybody down. AJ Styles and Cody Rhodes comes to mind. Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns comes to mind. But that's why I love wrestling so much. Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40 is one of the most over-the-top stupid things I've ever seen in my life. And in its own way, but completely differently, so was Will Ospreay versus MJF. This is what I need. And this is why sometimes I think maybe I'm enjoying wrestling more than ever right now. Because there is a taste for everybody. If you don't like something, you can just turn it off. But isn't it awesome that it's like a variety show all over the place? And I didn't even know I wanted a 1 hour match today. But I was completely wrong, and I did. And I was doing backflips by the end of it. And I just thought this entire Dynamite flew by. Okada is my favorite character in the world. He makes me laugh out loud. And some people say that it's awful we've taken Okada and turned him into this character, and we would have moaned if he went to WWE and did it. I wanted him to do it in WWE because it makes me laugh, and he's very good at it. As long as he's happy with it, who the flub cares? And I think Mercedes Moné especially is becoming the Sasha Banks of old, for lack of a better term. Her chemistry with Brit Breaker is off the charts. They don't even have to do anything. But because Mercedes understands how she has to sell for Brit, e.g. just run the flub out of there like a terrified chicken, I'm into that as well. And all the Mariah May stuff is just really well done. It just is. It's nothing surprising about it. Again, of course she was going to bludgeon Toni Storm. I mean, not to the level that we did do. That surprised me. Her coming out as Toni Storm and just saying I'm going to win the belt at Wembley, that's probably what we should do. And then we get to the end of the year and Toni can finally get her revenge. And then in the main event, right, if you're into AEW, you can't say they didn't give you something. Okada versus Swerve Strickland. Once more, I knew that it was going to end in a DQ, but given the first match was totally out of left field, I don't mind getting something a little bit more straightforward, but it builds to Team AEW versus Team Elite, I suppose, at Blood and Guts next week. And just getting to see Swerve Strickland and Okada in a ring on American television, I was like, I think we just need to take a moment to appreciate this because we are living in the crazy times. Now, actually, the highlight of all of that was after the disqualification when Hangman Adam Page came out and Swerve had his back to him, and we had this awesome camera angle, and they were about to clash when Okada obviously got into it with Strickland. But those two, they have a forever feud, and I will watch them whenever you want to do it. We've done, 3 matches, I believe? I think it's 3-0 to Swerve. That's probably not true, but obviously Swerve must be on the winning end of it because he won the death match, the Texas death match, earlier in the year. But we should make sure when we get to Blood and Guts, they don't touch the whole thing and then they go into it at the very end. Of course, it is going to be Mark Briscoe. I'm going to get this wrong. Mark Briscoe, Swerve Strickland, the Acclaimed, and Darby Allin, who made his return to AEW. That was cool. Versus the Elite and Hangman Adam Page. If we include him in the Elite, I don't know anymore. But it's going to be awesome. Those matches never miss. And you see dumb things and people say, I can't believe the Acclaimed him in it. Daddy Magic and Cool Hand Andrew in the last one. But that's a good thing. Let's build stars. They've been worked into that position. They deserve their opportunity. So, yeah, I just thought it was... The only thing that made no sense to me on Dynamite actually happened on Collision. I haven't got to see Collision this week yet, or last week. The whole trios title thing, we have to strip you of the belts because Jay White got injured. When in all promotions, we have seen people step in and belts not be vacated because Jay White may be injured, but Juice Robinson was right there. And then when the patriarchy are going to fight anyway. That's one of those things where wrestling companies do need to come up with rules and structure, because otherwise you do get absolutely like long-term viewers like me going, wait a minute, what? Well, why was Samoa Joe allowed to literally tag in for Adam Cole? He was nowhere there for a championship he didn't even own. At least Juice Robinson can be like, well, he's my buddy and he's my pal and he's in the same group. But I mean, these things slip through the cracks, I suppose, but I just don't understand why you have to vacate it just to give the belts to somebody again. Someone still has to win. So that just really confused me. I thought that was really weird, but I'm over it, and I'll never talk about it again because it's just pro wrestling and it's the most important of the least important things. But it had a 250 on it, so I think sometimes you do need to come out swinging, and I think that AEW hit a home run. I just thought it was tremendous. I thought it was all the fun in the world. And let's not forget, it's an easy watch in the sense that half the thing is one match, but it's a really, really good match. I mean, they do all kinds of stuff, and MJF, I'm a big MJF fan, and there was one point when he's like shouting, "I'm the best in the world." Will Ospreay hit him from behind? He was overselling anything in the best way. They were in the corner at one point, and Ospreay was giving him the chops, and MJF shouted out, "Look, we can talk this out." I mean, who would ever take him up on that agreement in the middle of a wrestling match? I remember when they did the four-way at Double or Nothing last year, when it was him, Jack Perry, Darby Allin, and Sammy Guevara, I suppose. I can't remember. And he was just shouting his ass off that entire time, too. I enjoy stuff like that, especially because the match also had a level of importance to it. It didn't lower the tone. It didn't make it overly comedic. Like I say, it was just a little bit of levity into proceedings, which is actually why I like TV time with Chris Jericho. I'm done with talk shows. Just get rid of them. They feel really... what's the word I'm looking for? Just done to death by this stage. But I actually think Chris Jericho's won me over with this. I like the fact that he does have a bit of an edge, not Adam Copeland. And Minoru Suzuki versus Chris Jericho next week, when we have, you know, Team AEW versus Team Elite for Blood and Guts, and a bunch of other matches that I can't remember now. I can't get mad at it. I just can't. That's a legend versus a legend, no matter what you think about Chris Jericho these days. And I look forward to seeing it. And if Suzuki wants to win the FTW title, I won't be mad at it too. And if Brian Keith, I think Big Bill is more established than Brian. If Brian Keith can use this to really get a foothold in AEW, that will make me happy too, because that guy's got a huge upside. But it's like anything. We need to figure it out. How do we get him to the top of the mountain? So I thought it was a really, really good show. I think that 1 hour match will go down in the history books for people that do like that. And as always, underline it. If it's not for you, it's not a problem, man. AEW's there for you to pick up and drop down, as is professional wrestling in general, because it's not a big deal. I say that all the time now. After the video we did the other day on Monday, you can check that out too. Embrace it in the way that you want to embrace it, and just let everybody else embrace it in their own way as well. But I was just very, very impressed. I thought it was very, very good TV. And even if the rating does come out and it's not very good, or it's not what AEW hopes, who cares, man? Keep giving me the good stuff. And I truly believe longevity is more important, and eventually you'll start reading those people back in. And even if they don't, not for me to worry about. It's not my business. I appreciate the fact that I enjoyed it to begin with. So please do like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Drop me a comment as well. There's loads to talk about here. The biggest comment would be, "Simon, you AEW Bick rider," but people don't say Bick, even though I love WWE too. But what do I know? It's nice to be told. Otherwise, it is grillermind.com/Simon. Use code Simon, get 10% off. It was 35% off pre-workouts the other day, all of them. And that's going to be happening all the time, so make sure you keep an eye on that website and put in that code to see what you can get. Patreon.com/Simon316, Simon316 on all social media. Simon J. Miller on the TikTok. Simon Miller on the videos for Cameo. Simon20 on Anthony Agogo's new fitness app. Just look for Agogo Fitness and you can sign in there. A couple of people signed up and they loved it. That made me really happy. And of course, Pro Wrestling Tees and Samson Athletics for t-shirts, because why wouldn't you want to merchandise? Today I'm basically wearing, like, what even is this? You wouldn't even call it a vest or a tank top. It's like a rag, because there's a random heat wave from nowhere in the UK, and I don't deal well with heat because I'm a stupid white guy. Anyway, take care, my friends. I'll see you soon.